Yo, what's good, my people? What's good, my people? It's your boy Jason Gooner back again with some more content for you. You see the thumbnail, you see the title, you see everything. It's the Jason Gooner TV EPL Preview Show. Yes, people. Another season is on the horizon. We get kicked off Friday with Manchester United and Fulham. So definitely we wanted to run out with some content and make sure that we preview this Premier League season. As you can see, nothing has changed. We still have on the Arsenal kit because I don't know our side. But we're going to talk about the entire Premier League tonight. Definitely going to discuss all the teams in the league, going to see all the moving that happened throughout the season, the off season, the summer transfer window. Of course, there's still some movement going on, so we'll keep tracking it until the window closes. But we will basically just discuss what I think will be the predicted table for this season. Also, going to tell you who I think is going to be the leading goal scorer for the season. Also, give out some awards, player of the season, and try to predict even a 11 for the season when it's over. So yes, this will be out there in the space forever. So yeah, we're going to take our time and make sure we get most of these right? So my plan is to just go through the table. We're going to start at the relegation places and work our way right up the table. And I'll give my takes on why I believe that some of these things will happen this season. Before we get started, just familiarize ourselves with the transfers. Also, any new managers that are in the league. There will be 5 new managers in the Premier League this season. So we just want to see who those people are, who they're going to be managing. Of course, the show is just getting started out. So we'll give a little time for the people to know that we are live. We know people will start to check in as we get going. All right. So let's see in the building, one of actually the first member of the channel. Big up to my cousin Nicholas down there. Big Liverpool fan, of course. Pool for the title is a clear choice. Big up, because you'll never walk alone. All right. So some people had a long summer to rid themselves of delusion. We see that Nicholas has still held on to his. But we're not going to fight him. He is a Liverpool through and through, so I would expect nothing less. Big up yourself, Nick. Owen, go on. Yeah, man, we're there, Owen. Big up yourself, Warren Webster. I don't know if you're still at work, brother, but respect for the view. I know you will like the content and share it as well, so big up to you, Warren Webster. All right, people. So, One thing I want to know, people, does anyone inside here play Fantasy Premier League? I guess, there's not that many people here yet, but when they're watching it back, they can put in the comment section. I do play FPL the traditional way. I'm in a few leagues with the draft. If you don't do FPL draft, I definitely suggest you should play it because it's very fun. It's very fun. Owen, you weren't thanked for the view. Good point. I didn't thank you for the view. Thank you, Owen, for the view, my boss. Yeah, joke, I know. So FPL draft, people, may I tell you, FPL draft is very fun. The difference with FPL draft is, you're in a league. I think the minimum is 8 teams, and I think the maximum is 12. And basically, all the teams will draft their own team. So, in the FPL traditional league, you have 100 people in the league. All of them can have Haaland as them striker and captain him every week. In this particular league, you actually have to pick players that are only going to be on your team, and you have the chance to transfer them throughout the season and everything. So I think it's really cool. I think it's a nice way to kind of, I like it a lot. So if you haven't played that game, people, I strongly recommend it. I have some drafts coming up this week, so I wanted to get this program out there because I knew I had some drafts coming up this week. So tomorrow night I have a draft. I believe Thursday night I will have a draft as well. So yeah, it's going to be a little tough for me to get some more content out. Before the season starts, though, we are going to be doing our prediction show like we used to do last year. So at some point tomorrow or Thursday, I will do a show dedicated to the results and trying to predict them. We had some fun last year doing that. All the people that take part in that, of course, will document what you guys say as well. And as we go through the weeks, we'll see who is kind of, winning or losing in that regard. All right, so that should be fun as well. DJ Gigs, big up yourself, my brother. Yes, we're taking a break tonight from the Jamaican football landscape. This one is going to be rooted in the English Premier League. Definitely trying to predict, when we started the channel, obviously I'm a Jamaican. You can hear me talking, so I'm Jamaican. But, I watch all football. Definitely pay close attention to my Jamaican players, but I do study the game as well, other than just the Jamaican landscape. So I still want to create content outside of Jamaica. I know right now, if I had put on a video and discuss what's been going around all day with the Jamaican stuff, Steve McLaren getting a beating, some saying it's a great hire, some saying it's a bad hire. We're going to leave all of that out tonight, people, and just focus on some English Premier League football. Yes, we have to do it this year, my side. We have to. All right, cool. So let's just go ahead and get into the program. As I said before, people, you don't know the YouTube things. It's running across the bottom of the screen. Please, or I don't know if I can even say that word, but like, share, and subscribe. Yes, I want to thank everyone that has joined the channel, been a part of it. We're over the 1,000, which was our first milestone we wanted to reach. I know it's very lofty, but the next milestone is 10K. And listen, people, I'm going to do what I can to get there, but you guys have to help me as well. Share the content, share the channel, let people know. You know what I mean? Warren says, thanks to you and JD, keep us informed. Bless up my G. Yeah, man, JD for sure. Definitely, I would say one of the leaders in keeping folks up to date on what players are doing around the world. We had a lot of players today. And I'm probably going to do some content tomorrow during the day because I have some time and I want to give some time to all those who played this past weekend. The EFL competitions got started. So Championship, League One, League Two, plenty of players playing around the world. Today was EFL Cup. So a lot of the younger players from Jamaica got chances. Have to give a shout out. It's not in the title or anything, but Che Gardner, big up yourself, youth, 17 years old, got your first game time on the weekend in the League One competition, and then today started and played the entire game in an AFL Cup match. I know your team went down badly. It was a bad game for you guys, but still want to highlight the fact that the kid got the start and got all 90 minutes. So very, very well done to you. I'm sure your father, Bibi, is beaming with pride that his son has made it to that level. So yeah, that is big respect to you and everybody that was a part of your development. All right, so without further ado, people, let's get into the content and the matters at hand. So the first thing I wanted to do, people, was just familiarize all of you with the managers for this upcoming season, right? So the reason why I wanted to do this is because I think that managers play a crucial role in how teams do during the season, right? We have evidence of this all through the Premier League. I mean, you can look at a team like Crystal Palace last season, struggling, not quite relegation level, but, a couple bad results, and they could have very well gotten into those struggles. They bring in Oliver Glasner. He turns the team around. They end off the season as one of the hottest teams in the league. So I think the managers play a crucial role in what these teams are going to do this season. So let's just run through the list of managers. So, of course, Arsenal, Mikel Arteta, definitely one that still divides opinion, which is surprising to me. I know he hasn't been able to get over the line and get past Manchester City to win the league. Did win us a trophy in the FA Cup in his, I think it was his second season. Took over during the year, and then the following year, his first full season, he won the FA Cup. And I think some fans and naysayers of him say, one FA Cup in all this time with all that money spent is not enough. I do think that he has to do better in the cup competitions this season. I think it's something that is becoming too much. It's becoming too frequent of an occurrence for us to drop out of these cup competitions early. And I think in Europe, last year did pretty well getting to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, eventually falling to Bayern Munich. But I think the cup competitions, I would think, especially now that the squad has a bit more meat on the bones, you would expect us to do better in those cup competitions. So Mikel Arteta is still the manager at Arsenal. Unai Emery, Aston Villa's manager, got them all the way to fourth spot in the Champions League. So again, another example of what a manager can do. I know Aston Villa made some good moves, got some new players in, but I do think that they've always had decent talent. Maybe not top 4 level talent, but again, this manager was able to get them over that line to get them into the premier competition in Europe. Andoni Iraola, this is a manager that I have a lot of time for. I think Bournemouth, at first, is going to struggle a bit. Of course, we're going to go through the transfer. So, they had a big loss when it comes to their striking department. Dominic Solanke going to Spurs for a record fee for Spurs. Small clubs do have record fees in the £60 million area. So it makes sense that is Spurs' highest transfer. small club that Spurs is. But yes, Solanke has left the building. Hearing rumors that his replacement could be coming from Arsenal, actually. Eddie Nketiah has been linked with Marseille. That deal fell through. They found a different striker. Didn't want to pay the 35 million that we wanted. Let's see if Bournemouth will pay what we want. But that is one that is in the pipeline right now. We'll keep track of that. Thomas Frank at Brentford. Another manager I have a lot of time for. The Danish manager definitely has a really obvious style of play, and his team is well drilled. I think they do the most with the least. They're one of those teams that have been able to stay in the league some years quite comfortably. Other years they've been, teetering around the relegation line. But when the chips, when it comes down to it, they always find a way to stay in this Premier League. So Thomas Frank, I think, deserves big respect. Fabian Hurstler, this is a manager that is intriguing to me, and I want to actually show you guys something. So Fabian Hurstler taking over at Brighton. Brighton is a team that definitely has had some great managers recently. When you look at the likes of Graham Potter, what he was able to do, and then they brought in Roberto De Zerbi, one that was on the lips of a lot of pundits, a lot of fans around the world saying, he could be the next big coach. He has since left and gone to Marseille. But Fabian, I wanted to just show you guys something about Fabian as well, because when I was doing research for this show, I had looked at his background, his history, and I found it very interesting. So I just want to bring it up on screen for you guys really quickly. So this is Fabian Hurstler. He is actually born in Houston, Texas. I didn't know that. He is a German citizen, though, spent most of his adult life there. And he is coming from St. Pauli, which was playing in the second division in Germany, or this Bundesliga 2. And, he has been there for the last few seasons. I think he started in 22-23, about the midway point. But what I wanted to look at was his managerial history. And at 31 years of age, he's definitely, obviously, the youngest manager in the league. I want to say he might be the youngest manager in all of world football, but I could be wrong with that. I think there might be a late 20s manager somewhere. So don't quote me on that one. But I know he's the youngest in the Premier League. And where is his history? Let's see. Here we go. All right, so this is his history, right? So what I wanted to point out, right? So he is 31 now. Now he got the Germany U20 job as the assistant manager, U20 and U18, and this was 2018, which would have made him about 25 years old, which is amazing, right? I believe his story, he got a career-ending injury or something of the sort. While he was a player, he was already accumulating his badges. As you can see, he was a player coach all the way back in 2016 at his club team. And, I just thought his story is quite amazing, how he's risen the ranks. So assistant manager in 2020, did that for a couple of years, then was the caretaker manager in that season in 2022-23, eventually getting the job full-time after just a few games, actually. And he had the job until he left this summer to come to greener pastures at Brighton. So this is a manager that has never coached in the Bundesliga before, but by all accounts, a tactical mastermind at this point at his young age of 31. And I think when you look around the world at some of these coaches, I believe a lot of these clubs, especially clubs like a Brighton, forward-thinking type of clubs, they are willing to take chances on managers like this. Definitely what you would class as a modern coach. I've heard some people leveling that about Steve McLaren, which is kind of hilarious to me based on his age. How could he possibly be a modern coach? But for sure, this guy is. And I think that Brighton will be a team to watch out for. I know player-wise, they have made a few moves, and we'll look at that in a minute. But I am just interested to see how this manager brings his style and his tactics to the Premier League. I think that's something that's going to be good for the league, to have such a young manager with different ideas coming in. So I just wanted to point out his history and his age, because I thought that was pretty intriguing. All right, let's just go back to the list again. One thing to note as well, people, I love that when they show these managers, they have their nationalities there. So it's listing him as a United States coach. He's a German citizen born in the US. So interesting to see that the Premier League website itself is saying he's from the US, because I think he is a dual citizen at this point. So interesting there. Perhaps maybe a future U.S. men's national team coach. Who knows? All right. Next coach on the list, another new one, did leave Leicester City to come to Chelsea, and that is Enzo Maresca, another one of the what you would call Pep's disciples. I think there are quite a few now in the league. Mikel Arteta, Enzo Maresca, another one. So yeah, he is coming from that school of Pep Guardiola, and I thought his Leicester team played some of the best football. I mean, you can even count them as in England, period. Definitely in the Championship, but when you watch his Leicester team play some games last year in the Championship, I would say they played some of the best brand of football. We'll talk about Chelsea as the show continues, but again, that's a manager that I have a lot of time for, Enzo Maresca from Italy. Oliver Glasner out of Austria. You saw what he did in his short time with Crystal Palace last year, definitely righting the ship for them and getting them on a whole different trajectory during their season. Got the best out of players like Mateta. Olise always was doing well, but he played even better under Glasner. Same with Eze. I thought everything about that team changed when he became the manager. So let's see if he can continue that moving into this season. And I will let you know in a minute where I have them finishing this year. Sean Dyche, the man who will never die in the Premier League. Actually, we have gone to about 6-7 teams already, and this is the first manager actually from England. Sean Dyche will be coaching Everton this year, of course. Marco Silva, Portugal, Fulham. I think this is a manager that is another one that tends to get the most out of what he has. I think he's a good manager as well. Maybe a bit of a hothead on the sideline sometimes, but all managers are created differently, and he's definitely one that has his emotions on his sleeve. Kieran McKenna, Ipswich Town, Northern Ireland. This is a manager that was high up on a lot of lists as well once he got them promoted. At one point, you heard that he might be going to Chelsea. In the end, they went with Maresca, but Kieran McKenna is another manager that is definitely moving up the ranks as far as pedigree and getting respect around the world. Steve Cooper was fired from Nottingham Forest just to get the Leicester City job. So he is still in the Premier League. Back in the Premier League, I should say. He is Welsh, has experience coaching the youth teams in England and many clubs as well. I think a manager that definitely, I like his brand of football. I think at Nottingham Forest, he was kind of, dealt a crazy hand. They went the way of just buying players left, right, and center and telling him, hey, make it work. But I think with Leicester, he'll have a much more cohesive squad to work with, and we're going to talk about them as well as we move forward. Arne Slot, another new manager entering the league, coming from the Netherlands, Liverpool. I remember last year when he was announced, many Liverpool fans that I know were very underwhelmed. He has since changed a lot of opinions with their performances in the preseason, how quickly they have seemed to grasp his concepts and his tactics. And I think Liverpool this year will surprise some people as far as, what people were calling, when Klopp leaves, it's going to be a massive drop-off. I really don't see it coming for Liverpool this year. Now, I won't go as far to say, like my cousin, that they're going to win the league, but I do think that Liverpool are in good stead with this manager. Let's see. Let me just check in with the comment section real quick. I didn't watch the stream about the person that every channel I got on, I heard his name. Wonder if a butler had trained him. Yeah. Look, the good thing about, I'm assuming DJ Gigs that you're referring to, 433 Presser, another YouTuber in the space. Yeah, he definitely knows how to spark a conversation or a debate, I should say, which is a good skill to have if you're going to create content. So, a lot of people are burning him out for his thoughts. I never took that stance. I understand, everybody's going to have their own opinions, and he definitely has strong ones, and he tries to back them up with his research and what he has, his findings, right? And, you don't have to agree with it, but, I don't understand some of the vitriol that has been leveled his way, to be honest. I have just tried to counter his arguments with what I believe to be my findings. So, conversation is fine. Bless up float, wagwan. Warren said, big up Spurs. Yeah, man, I know you're the Spurs, man. Based on the players that I saw they got in this window, where some seem like they can finish higher in the league this season. Yeah, well, DJ Gigs, I will tell you this. Shout out to Cranky Live. I saw his program where he had his panel with his brethren from England and everything. And when they asked for the top 4, I actually put West Ham at 4th. Now that was, I want to say, a week ago, and I have kind of tweaked that for this program. So I'm kind of letting the cat out of the bag here, but I don't have West Ham finishing in the top 4 upon further review and analysis. But we will get to the league table in a minute, so stick around for that, DJ Gigs. Let's see which manager will be fired first based on West Ham addition. Will he be under close scrutiny? Well, that's a good point, Warren. They have hired Lopetegui to come in. He's a manager that I think is a very good manager as well. I thought at Wolves, it just wasn't a good enough fit. A lot of the things that he wanted Wolves to do, West Ham is doing for him now. When he wants players, he wants to be able to get them in, and they have not wasted any time and gotten players in. So you're right, they have spent the money, so he will be in for some scrutiny. I agree. Brighton was very good last season. Yeah, I don't know about very good Warren Webster. I think that was maybe the season before that. I thought last year, De Zerbi, it seemed as if he was a bit disillusioned with the direction the club was taking. I think that's a part of the reason why he left. I don't believe that they were seeing eye to eye. He was okay with losing some players and everything, but it seemed as if they really didn't want to keep any players. They just wanted to get the first person that would come buying a player they want to sell. And I think he was starting to believe that he would never be able to get to another level with this team. That's a part of the reason why he left. Lopetegui is new for West Ham. Will he be the surprise or a flop? Look, I don't think he'll flop. I just don't see it. I think West Ham has built a solid foundation in some of their signings. I think that, when you look at the money they used on the players that they got last year from the Declan Rice money that they got, the Edson Alvarez, the Kudus, there's a third player as well, Edson Alvarez, Kudus, and James Ward-Prowse. They have since added some more players. Didn't really lose much, as we're going to see in a minute, because I'm going to go through all the outgoings and incomings for all the teams. Hot Chili, bless up yourself. Yeah, man, Hot Chili is one of those that was definitely picking the predictions as well last season on certain weeks. So big up yourself, Hot Chili. We're back again for another season, my boss. All right, so Arne Slot, where I left off, I think he's going to be a surprise package for Liverpool this season. Definitely like the way he sets up. I do think that you'll see a much more controlled Liverpool this season. It won't be as Klopp used to call it, heavy metal, but I still feel like they'll be very fast in the transition. And I do think that the defense, will be a little bit more sturdy in terms of just having a better balance. I think at times when the way you could get out Liverpool is they played a bit suicidal because they were trying to win the ball every single place on the pitch. If you get one of those pressing incorrect, you leave big spaces. And I think that was beginning to hurt them in the end. Pep Guardiola, what can you say about him? Going for his 5th title in a row. I believe it's going to be, 7 and 8 if he wins this year as well. So yeah, Pep Guardiola definitely going down in history as one of the greatest managers ever in the English Premier League. We'll see. They say there's something called winning fatigue. I don't see Man City catching that, but I think that teams might be getting closer to them, and we will discuss that as we move further into the program. Erik ten Hag has remained as the manager of Manchester United. If you watch the Community Shield game, I think you saw a Manchester United that is definitely beginning to, become more in sync with the tactics that Ten Hag wants. I know people will discuss that Man City didn't have their, A team out there, but Pep Guardiola coaching players in his system, it's a plug and play thing for me. Of course, there's quality differences. I understand that, but that Manchester City team played just like our Manchester City team should play. And they had Haaland out there. They had top players out there as well. So I'm not going to put too much stock in the fact that, some of their main guys like Foden, for example, wasn't playing. Oscar Bob is no slouch. He's a baller. Nico O'Reilly is young, but he's a baller. I mean, these young guys coming through are ballers as well. Rico Lewis, so I think the showing Manchester United put up, especially in that second half, should give some United fans a lot of hope going into the season. Eddie Howe, another English manager. That's the 3rd English manager on the list at this point. No, just the 2nd, actually. Eddie Howe, Newcastle. Definitely, I'd say before the start of last season was probably the hottest commodity as far as English managers are concerned. But had a bit of a blip last year. I think the the squad wasn't quite ready for the rigors of the Champions League. I think without Europe this year, that could hold them in much better stead, and they should have a decent run in the season. I just worry that the league around, the people around them are just really good, so that might hold them back. But we'll see what Newcastle can pull out this season. Nuno Espirito Santo keeps his job at Nottingham Forest after keeping them up from battling relegation later on in the season. The Portuguese manager is back again. Russell Martin brought his team up from the Championship. He's Scottish. Southampton, as you might know, did make it through the playoff last season to get that third slot into the Premier League. We'll see if it's going to be a yo-yo season for them. We'll get to that in just a minute. Ange Postecoglou came out with a bang last year. Spurs was looking like a serious team in the, I'd say maybe the first month and a half last season, definitely putting teams to the sword with their style. But, again, a bit suicidal. And I think, the lack of depth in the defensive side of things definitely caught up with them in the end. And they weren't able to sustain it, eventually finishing just outside of the four CL spots, did Tottenham Hotspur. Then we have Julian Lopetegui, who has been mentioned already, another Spanish manager. As I said before, was in the Premier League for a short stint with Wolves. I don't think that the philosophy is matched up there, so he departed, but he's back in the Premier League now with a team that is, looking to actually, bolster their squad with some big financial commitments. And I think Lopetegui is there for that, and to kind of get all those players gelled and create a system that works. I think that he has brought in some very good players and some good options, and I think they're going to have a pretty good season. Gary O'Neill, the other English manager, I think I have time for as well. People thought, I guess based on his last name, he was Irish, but I knew he was an English guy. Wolverhampton Wanderers, I think another team that, just tends to stay in the Premier League somehow every season. And you'll see later whether I think that will continue this year or not. But Gary O'Neill, another talented manager. I think he's one that potentially could coach England one day. I think him and Eddie Howe definitely, if they want to keep, putting English managers as the manager, those would be two names that I would be looking at for sure. So those are all the managers that will be taking over all the teams this season. So, the thing that stands out to me more than anything, only 3 English managers in the Premier League, 1 Scotsman, 1 Welshman, right? And 1 Northern Ireland. So that's 6 from the, Great Britain area. And then the rest of them, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from Spain. We got, let's see, 2 from the Netherlands, 1 from Australia, 2 from Portugal, 1 from Italy, and 1 US/German, 1 from Denmark, 1 from Austria. So, in the English Premier League, only 3 English managers. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Does that mean anything to anybody? I don't know. One of the few English managers, and not overhyped. Yeah, I think Gary O'Neill is really good, man. I really do. I think Eddie Howe kind of lost a bit of his credentials or I guess his cachet last season with how they did. But I just think that squad wasn't quite ready to take on, the Champions League and the Premier League at the same time. So I think Eddie Howe will probably do a bit better this season, not having the rigors of Europe to worry about, as far as I'm concerned. So let's see now. Before we go any further, I just want to, well, I don't really want to, but I think I should show you guys the Premier League table, how it ended last year, just to put into perspective what I think is going to happen coming up this year. So this was the table last season. Of course, Sheffield, Burnley, and Luton relegated to the Championship. Sad to see Amari Bell now in the Championship, no longer in the Prem, but he is gone down, as well as from Sheffield United, you had Andre Brooks, one that has been talked about as a potential reggae boy as well. He's on Sheffield United, but Nottingham Forest just in that spot. That's probably the nicest spot to be, apart from winning or finishing in the European place, is 17th, because you just barely stayed in the league, but you're still there. Nottingham Forest in 17th. Then you had Brentford 16th, Everton 15th, Gary O'Neill and Wolves in 14th, Marco Silva and Fulham 13th, Bournemouth in 12th, Brighton in 11th, Crystal Palace all the way up to 10th when they were hovering around 17th, 18th, 16th for the longest last season. West Ham, kind of disappointing for them last year to finish in 9th. after finishing a couple places higher the year before. Manchester United in 8th, one of their worst seasons, I think, in the history of the Premier League since it became the Premier League. -1 goal difference over the course of the season. I don't know if Manchester United ever had that happen to them. So it wasn't the best of seasons, but they did finish with the FA Cup. So Manchester United fans, let me hear about that all through the summer, that they still won a trophy. Newcastle United finished as well on 60 points, but they had a much better goal difference. Partly due to Isak and others scoring a bag of goals for them. Then we have Chelsea finishing in 6th after a good running. As you can see, they won 5 on the track to end the year. Soon as Pochettino got a tune-out to the players, he's gone. They brought Maresca in. So that's a strange one there to me. Tottenham Hotspur could not get the job done in the end. We were thinking they might be able to pass Aston Villa to get that 4th spot, but they couldn't get there, but they got to 5th, 66 points. Then you had Aston Villa, Liverpool, Arsenal at 89 points, and Manchester City, the 4th time in a row champions, finishing on 91 points. So one thing to note from last season, Manchester City scored the most goals. Arsenal were 2nd, Liverpool next, and then all the way in 7th, Newcastle had 85 goals. The difference was Newcastle let in 62 goals. All these teams here from 4 to 7 let in 60 goals or more. Man U was a little bit more stingy at 58. But then when you look at the top 3 teams, there's a big gap in goals conceded. 41 to Liverpool, 29 to Arsenal, 34 to Man City. So, that defending and that, keeping clean sheets, not conceding many goals, that really goes a long way in getting you up the table. So yeah, that was interesting to just look at and just refresh our memory of how the season actually ended off last year. And there you see the European places, these 4 in the Champions League. Of course, you got Tottenham going to the Europa League, and then Chelsea playing in the Conference League. So Chelsea fans, look forward to heading to Azerbaijan for your group stage matches. Yes. Some name of some teams where you can't even pronounce. All right, so that is that, people. Now the next thing I want to do is show you guys the transfers, right? So let's take a look at the summer transfers in the Prem. And let's see. So we're just gonna scroll down and look through and see, just highlight the big names, or what I would consider the big moves that happened over the summer. So of course, you're going to see a lot of these players released on all these lists. These are players out of contract. They didn't re-up them this time. Sad to see El Neni go. Well, I mean, not from a footballing point of view, but just a really good locker room guy. Knew he was doing his coaching badges as well. Recently saw him take his Egyptian team to the semifinals of the Olympics. He was the captain for that team, one of the overage players. More than likely, you'll see him probably managing some point soon. Cedric Suarez gone as well. Rest of these players mainly youth players, players who are out on loan, who are out of a contract. Kido Taylor Hart, one that has been linked to playing for Jamaica, definitely, hasn't really kicked on as we thought or hoped he would. He was released as well. We brought in Lucas Nygaard as a backup option in goal. Young player, definitely one for the future, joining the academy. Then we have I was surprised that Kozia Dewberry didn't get re-upped. I thought that he would have had some kind of value, but he was released. I know Brighton picked him up, and he actually has done pretty well for them in preseason. So interested to see what he does if he gets a lot of game time at Brighton, or is in the first team. David Raya made official. He was on loan last year, so we did the official transfer in the summer. So he will be here permanently now from Brentford. Then we got in another young keeper, Tommy Setford from Ajax, 18 years old. And then the big one for us as far as a player coming in was Ricardo Calafiori. So he played for Bologna last season, was at Roma at one point as well. Had a massive knee injury before really kicking on at Roma, and really resurrected his career last season at Bologna. Heard a really cool stat that of all the defenders in the top 5 leagues, he led everybody in chances created, from they played him either at left back or left center back in a back three, and he's a player that can carry the ball forward. Really good defender, one-on-one as well. Strong in the tackle, a big lad, about 6'3", strong. Still young as well. I think he's only 22, going on 23. So Calafiori, for a team that had the most stingy defense in the league, he'll be adding to that as well. I think he'll help with the depth over there. At times last season, we were going with Kivior over there on that left side. I think he was very susceptible to the pace of wingers. We have Zinchenko as well, who to most is a defensive liability. But I think Zinchenko, if we're being totally honest, has been one of the best players in this preseason for Arsenal. So really, really interested to see how Arteta starts this season out. I think it's a bit early to just insert Calafiori into the lineup. So more than likely, you'll probably be seeing Zinchenko starting, especially the first game against Wolves. But it's going to be interesting to see when we have those tougher matchups against the bigger teams away from home. More than likely, he'll be going with a player like Calafiori on that left side. I see Hot Chili put a comment in the comment section there. Timber basically a new signing for Arsenal. Very true. Very true. He started out preseason in America looking excellent, fit, strong. Just such a sharp player. Sharp on the ball. Even though he's kind of diminutive when he played that centre-back role, you can't really bully him even though he's short. Kind of in that regard reminds me of Martinez a bit. The Lisandro Martinez from Manchester United. Both they're very similar. He's just right-footed and Martinez is left-footed, but I think he plays in a very, very similar way. It's kind of like he knows because he's short, he has to play with some, big aggression, body up forwards before they receive the ball, just to kind of lessen that advantage they might have because he's not so big, right? But I think he's a very, very intelligent player. Did have to sit out training last week. That's why he wasn't involved in the Emirates Cup games, but should have returned to the pitch this week. More than likely, he'll probably just be on the bench coming into the weekend. But yeah, Timber is definitely like a new signing. Conrad, big up yourself, Yeah, man, respect for being here, my brother. Brent said, don't do that. What am I do? What am I do, Brent? And then the transfers out now. So we had a lot of players released and everything. We loaned out Sambi. I think there's an obligation on that deal as well. We loaned out Tavares, obligation as well. And then the big one, I think, leaving out would have been Emil Smith-Rowe heading to Fulham. And when we get to Fulham, we'll discuss that more in detail. So to be totally honest, I would say a bit underwhelming so far for the Gunners in terms of transfers. The big elephant in the room, which I don't really understand at this point, because we were second to Man City in goals scored with 91. I don't believe that goals is really our issue, but people say, hey, if you don't have that nailed on number 9 to get you the 20 goals, you cannot win the league. So, that's what people are saying. I don't agree with it. I think the way we play, goals are going to come from everywhere, from midfield, from the wingers, from the wide forwards. We're the best set-piece team in the league, so the defender's going to chip in with some goals as well. So I don't really believe that we can't win the league without getting another striker signing. Not saying I wouldn't take another striker, but for me personally, people, I want to see us solidify the midfield even more, because we have some players in there that are either getting a bit older or are prone to injuries. When we're talking about that CDM position in particular, we have Jorginho, we have Declan Rice, who kind of plays a bit more advanced for us, and we have Thomas Partey. Now, in Partey's defense, this is the best preseason I've ever seen him have for Arsenal this season right here. Looks very sharp, looks to be fit as well. Hopefully that can continue, but it's a big hope. He hasn't really shown me that he can do that. So we need Partey to give us an actual season of football this year. And if that can happen, I struggle to find a midfield. I won't say they're the best, but I don't think any midfield is gonna just overpower us. If when we're talking the Partey, Rice, and Odegaard midfield, of course there have been rumors not all summer, but since the Euro has finished, they've been hearing a lot. Oh, okay. He said don't compare Timber to Martinez. Yo, don't disrespect Martinez, Brent. A good player, man. Good player, man. Good player. I don't like him because he play for United. I don't like United. I know you don't like United, but I'd have to call a spade a spade. Lisandro Martinez is a good player. He's a very good player. And I think one thing that surprised me about Timber, and I didn't really take note of it last preseason because he was playing more on the flank as a defender, but he's very aggressive, man. He tackled hard. And that's what makes me compare Martinez and him. And Martinez is also very proficient on the ball. So, yeah. Respect for the super sticker to Brent. You don't know you always a support the thing. I know say, bro, mess up, bro. I'm dead close to your side, for the weekend. I'm not even shout to you, star. Yeah, man, I'm not even shouting. I should have shout you, brother. Jano. Son kill me, brother. Them reach final though, Brent, and losing at the final. So, yeah, man. Them do them thing, man. I play some tough competition and the girl them reach the final same way. So we're proud of them same way, I don't think that comparison unfair though, Brent, to be honest. A good defender, man. So yeah, that's my take on the Arsenal incomings and outgoings. Let's look at another team now that I think had a lot of movement in this offseason in terms of players, and that is Aston Villa. Of course, Aston Villa would have been looking to this season saying, all right, listen, we'll have to get everything right because we're going into the Champions League. So Morgan Sanson left the club, went to Nice. Makes sense. Wasn't really getting much chance. Tim was forced to actually play last year. I don't think Emery would have had him so much in his plans last season, but they had a host of midfield injuries, so he had gotten a lot of game time, actually, more than I would have expected. He went to Everton, but returning, on the flip side, they got Lewis Dobbin in, another young English player, burst onto the scene a few years ago as a teenager, and, maybe in his eyes, wish he would have kicked on some more. But he did make a few appearances at Everton last year, sparing ones at that. But, I think Emery looks at him as a player similar to Morgan Rogers, who he brought in last year and was able to get a good tune out of. And Morgan Rogers had a really good preseason as well. So, Emery is one that likes that younger age profile to kind of work with them. You saw him do that at Arsenal, bringing players through, brought Martinelli through, brought Saka through. A lot of those players that Arteta ended up sticking with, Emery really gave them their first chances. So Emery is very good at bringing through players. I'll give him that. Ian Maatsen. I was surprised actually Chelsea got rid of this player after seeing his displays at Borussia Dortmund, going all the way to the Champions League final and playing pretty much all the minutes in the Champions League. But at the end of the day, Chelsea have to balance the books. Somebody had to get sold, and they got a good fee for him. So Ian Maatsen headed over to Aston Villa, where I think he probably will take over the reins as a starter. But we shall see. He'll have competition from Digne. And I believe if they didn't get rid of him, the other left back is there as well. His name is slipping me right now. But yeah, they have two quality left backs already. Maybe he sees Maatsen more as a more advanced player because he can play a bit more attacking. So we'll see what he does with Maatsen. But I definitely think he's a very, very good player. I was surprised that they let Omari Kellyman go, one of the top players in the PL2 last year. Did move over to Chelsea. Then Douglas Luiz, probably, top 3, one of their better players, maybe top 4 last season overall, went to Juventus. For some reason, I always got the feeling like Unai Emery likes the player but didn't love the player, right? And I think the player that kind of is going to take his place, and I'm just going to scroll down so you can see, is this player right here, Amadou Onana. And I think as far as midfielders go, this is more along the lines of what Emery likes in his midfield, that big bustling player, but still has the technical ability. Amadou Onana, I think, is a very good signing. They spent a pretty penny for him, but I do think that his sell-on value will be even more. I think they spent 50 million on him or something like that. I think he could potentially go for 60, 70 in a few years to one of the bigger clubs. Already a full-on international for Belgium in their midfield. I think that's a good piece of business personally. I would have had him at Arsenal, to be honest. Enzo Barrenechea came in from Juve. Samuel Illing Jr., another young one, came in from Juve. So, they are really stocking up. I think they probably looked at the likes of a Newcastle last season who struggled to kind of keep up with the fixture congestion that Champions League can bring. And they went all out trying to make sure that they beefed the squad up. So you have to give them credit there. Ross Barkley was a great piece of business for me. Had a breakout season again last year at Luton. Yeah, I know he's a bit older, so it's hard to say breakout, but the level that he kept, that consistent level all throughout the season. I think it's a good piece of business. Knows the league inside out, confident player, can help on the set pieces as well. So I think he's a good pickup for them. Ross Barkley, Cameron Archer came back in from Sheffield United, or came from Sheffield United, I should say. Definitely a player to watch this season. I think he will have a lot more opportunities this go around. Last time, we just kept getting loaned out. But I think he'll do something this season, especially with Ali Watkins having, pretty much no preseason. I think Cameron Archer early on might get a lot of minutes. Then you have Jaden Philogene. This is a player that they actually sold to Hull City, I think 2 seasons ago. Not tore up, but did really well for Hull City in the championship, and now has transferred right back to where he was transferred from, back to Aston Villa. Very, very tricky winger. I think he scored one of the goals of the season, did a Rabona goal. It was a madness. I don't know if you've seen that clip, but that was crazy. This was a surprising one for me. Moussa Diaby transferred out to Al Ittihad. Now, they did get some good money, so I understand they had to kind of do that to kind of make sense of all the other transfers they were making, but I'm just not sure that Moussa Diaby would have been a player that I would have gotten rid of so fast. I mean, maybe he didn't have the greatest season in the world, but his output was pretty good for a player coming into his first season in the league. So I was very surprised by Moussa Diaby leaving. But as I said before, it's not like they got rid of him and didn't do anything. They have, re-upped and retooled and spent some money to try to make sense of this upcoming fixture list that they're going to have. So that is pretty much the main ones from Aston Villa. Bournemouth now, a lot of players that they already had on loan that they just got permanent. Luis Sinistera, Enes Unal, both were there last year, made those permanent. They got a young keeper from Australia. Daniel Jebison, an interesting one. Born in Canada, can represent them, but has represented England at youth level. So that's one to watch as far as the CONCACAF fans go. Will he play for Canada in the future? We don't know. But that was pretty much the extent of what they did. And then very recently, they just brought in Julian Araujo. You know him from the Mexican national team. He was on Barcelona, but on loan last year. And of course, the big out for them would have been Dominic Solanke heading to Tottenham Hotspur for, as I said before, a club fee record for Tottenham. Now let's move on to Brentford. This striker, Igor Thiago, a huge striker out of Brazil, was playing at Club Brugge last season. One that when I heard they were getting him, because this is a transfer that they did, they made official last year before the season was over, and he would move in the summer. And I remember looking up his statistics and did really, really well in Belgium. I think he's basically an insurance policy for if Ivan Toney does indeed leave. His transfers have really quieted. I remember when he was out of the game, everybody was saying he was going to go to Arsenal, he was going to go to Spurs, he was going to go somewhere else. But everything has quieted for him. I don't know what has happened, why his stock has fallen so much. It's quite strange, actually, that no one's really talking about him as a potential replacement for whoever needs a striker, Let's see. Yo, I'm with Nick right now, and my question is, would you rather come second with no trophy or fifth with a trophy? Would you keep coming second to City all the time with no trophy, or fifth and a cup? That's a good question, Mark Anthony. I mean, in a perfect world, I would just finish first. But, I mean, when you put it like this, I think the chance to play in the Champions League, that's such a tough question, Mark, honestly, because I would love to have had some silverware from last season. You don't get anything from finishing second. You just finish second. You know what I mean? But I do think that based on the finances and based on the ability to, like, some players literally will not go to a club unless they're going to play Champions League. I think that has something that, damn, that's a tough question, Mark. I'm going to think about it some more. I don't want to just answer so fast. I was in New Mexico. Oh, okay. Say never about. I don't feel so bad then. Douglas Luiz transfer was surprising to me when I saw it. Yeah, As I said, I think it's something behind the scenes. I don't think it could have been football, because I think he was very effective in Emery's system last year. As I said before, I think Emery might just prefer to have a player with a bit more bite in that midfield. And while I don't think Onana is as technical as Luis, I don't think he's just a athlete either. I think he's technical enough. You might lose some of that vision that Luis had, but I think that Villa has enough players that can create, where maybe the loss of Luis isn't the end of the world. I think Jacob Ramsey coming back in the team is going to be a huge help. I think he was a big miss last year for them. I think Morgan Rogers, a year more under his belt, under the coaching, under the system, he's going to play well again this year. I don't see any drop-off coming for Leon Bailey this season either. I think he's settled in, knows the coach's system as well. And of course, they have Ali Watkins. They've been able to hold on to him. A lot of people thought he would be gone by now, but he's still there. Doesn't look like he's going to leave. So, yeah, it was surprising at the time, but I do think that it must be... Yeah, it must be something outside the pitch, because footballing reasons, I don't really see why they would have gotten rid of him. I just think maybe there was a clash between, something wasn't right. I don't know. Something wasn't right behind the scenes for me. Or maybe he just wanted a change of scenery. I don't know. I do know that I want to say, I think he goes out with the girl Alicia Lehman, and I want to say she went to Juve as well. But I could be wrong on that. I feel like they both went to Juve though, I think. Just remember I said Coutinho still play football. No. Channel Star. I don't know why I'm to Coutinho, brother. Mark Anthony said playing Champions League is not a trophy either. It's an experience. That is true. Later on, your fans are not going to acknowledge coming second. No, look, I don't walk around and beat my chest that we came second. I don't do that. So I don't know what fans, I guess some fans that do that, but I don't do that. I mean, I just call a spade a spade. We were the closest team to knocking off the champs. I mean, that's just a fact. Would I trade second for getting an FA Cup? Not if I finished 8th and didn't have Europe to play, or got into Europe via winning the FA Cup. Like I want to be in the Premier European competition. I think that attracts the best players. I think that gives you the highest revenues. Yeah. So if I had to choose, I would go trophyless and finish in the top 4. To be honest, now that I'm thinking about it, like for real. And we have won the most FA Cups. I don't need no more of those. Now we should see more of Ramsey in the midfield if he can stay injury-free. Yeah, I agree. I think Ramsey was kind of playing more of an attacking wide forward role just due to the fact that the midfield was kind of covered. I think now you'll see him in that midfield some more. I think if you can look at it like, if he goes with like a 4-3-3 system, for example, he can play Onana, McGinn and Ramsey. I think that's a very good balance in the midfield right there. So yeah, they have some options they could work with for sure. All right, so Brentford, Igor Thiago, yep, Baptiste got us. Neil Maupay went back to Everton. Reguilon back to Spurs. I think they probably got rid of him after that. Stone, I saw this player in the CONCACAF U20. He's an American kid. He's about 6'6". He's a giant. He's over there. He's going to be with the Brentford Academy more than likely. And then just recently, they got in Fabio Carvalho. Good piece of business for them. I think, he immediately goes there and probably will be a starter for them as long as he's fit right now. I think he's a player that I'm not totally surprised Liverpool, just cashed in on him. But I do think there's a lot of talent in this player. And I think at a club like Brentford, where he'll get a lot of opportunities, you'll probably see the best out of him this season. So good bit of business to get in Fabio Carvalho, a player with his pedigree, into the club. And again, I have time for the coach. So he always finds a way to get this team going. Now, Brighton, this is what their business looked like going into this season. Lallana released, Alzate released. Let's see. They brought in Weaver from Feyenoord. As I said earlier, they brought in Kozia Dewberry. He got released by Arsenal. But you know, in typical Brighton fashion, most of the players, you know, I only know Amario because I follow Arsenal and I know him from the youth program. I don't know this guy, Malik Yalkoui. I don't know Ibrahim Osman as well from North Zealand. So, and I bet you when we watch them play, they look good. You know what I mean? Minte came over from Newcastle. Don't know much about him either. So, Brighton does this, people. You're not going to really know these names until you see them playing and you say, damn, these players are pretty good. But I will say this. Pascal Gross has been a stalwart for them for the past few seasons. He's gone to Dortmund, getting a bit up there in age, so maybe they figured might as well cash out now while he has some value in the sale. But I think he'll be a big loss because he was crucial to a lot of what they did. I'm very surprised they loaned out Bonanate to Leicester City. I think he could have done something to help them out this year, as well as the player from Paraguay that we saw in the Olympics and in the Copa America, Julio Enciso. I did see him have some have a struggle in the Olympics actually. So hopefully it's not a long-term injury because I think he will really be needed by Brighton this season. But that's Brighton's business. Then we look at Chelsea, people. So Chelsea, this could have been a whole entire show on Chelsea transfers. As you know, if you saw the thumbnail, I had that graphic with all the players in the Chelsea squad. It's about 500 players in the squad right now, and they're still buying players, right? So it's crazy. You would like this coach to get Ramsey to play for Jamaica, boy. That would be nice. That would be nice. That had nothing to do with pay Mark Anthony. That kid, Chibo Oti, or Chido Obi Martin, I believe his name is. We had a nice lucrative deal for him, brother. Nice lucrative deal. Nothing was wrong with the deal we had for him. He just decided to go to United. I don't understand why. Because, well, maybe what they sold him, he saw a clearer pathway to the first team. I will say this: the one knock that I have on Arteta as a coach, I do not think that Arteta trusts the youth enough. I remember he received a lot of backlash for playing Nwaneri in that game last season because people said he only did it to say he had the youngest player that ever played in the Premier League. And at the time, I was defending him and saying, yo, what are they talking about? You never have to give him a game. But then when I see what he did with him for the rest of the time he's been there, I kind of agree with the people now. Like, he just did that because he knew it would be a story. You know what I mean? He was like, okay, I gave the youngest kid a chance. You know what I mean? So I think that played a role in why he left, to be honest. I don't think it was money. We gave him a very lucrative contract for his age. United may have given him a bit more, but we're not talking about anything that would make a player leave. You know what I mean? So, Mark Anthony, believe me, that was not so bad. The deal we had on the table. Is he a good player though? Look, for me, he scored a bag of goals. But when I watch his highlights, it seems like he's using the fact that he's bigger than everybody to score goals. And I don't think that really translates into the professional game. I don't see anything technically in him that says, wow, this guy is going to be incredible. No, I could be wrong, because I'm not, the end-all, be-all and scouting players. But I'm just saying, nothing stood out to me other than his power. And eventually, as he goes up in the age groups and he plays against grown men, that power is not going to hold up. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll see. We see Erling Haaland now using power. But again, I think when Haaland plays the best teams, he has his quietest games. You can do a show on Chelsea keeper alone, may I tell you? Because they had 7, and I think they just bought another one to make 8. So I don't really know what they're up to. Chelsea money seems to be stuck on pile till they don't know what to do with it. Facts. He's about to be like Van Persie. No, he has a long way to go to get there, Mark Anthony. Believe me. A long way to go. All right, so this is Chelsea, people. They lost Thiago Silva. Left. I think he went back to play in Brazil. they recall Broha. I don't know why. This coach has no time for him. Hasn't even got. I think he got like one game in the preseason. Tosin was I was surprised by this actually. Tosin came from Fulham, but actually has looked pretty decent in the preseason. To be honest, one of the few defenders they have that hasn't looked terrible. Let's see. Ziyech went out permanently now to Galatasaray. Matson I talked about earlier to Villa. They brought in Kellyman as a youngster from Aston Villa. Omari Hutchinson went to Ipswich Town after being on loan with them last year, bringing them up. They brought in Gui from Barcelona, Dewsbury Hall from Leicester. Another player that I followed a bit last year, Michael Golding, from the U21s. He went to Leicester in search of first-team football. Renato Vega came in from Basel, another defender they brought in. Caleb Wiley was brought in from Atlanta United to be loaned out to Strasbourg, I believe it is. Yep, their sister club. And then Malang Sarr, who famously Pochettino didn't have a clue who he was when they asked him about him. Has been released. Here's one of the keepers they brought in, Jorgensen. Pretty good keeper. Starter last year at Villarreal. We'll see how that works out between him and Robert Sanchez as far as who starts in goal. He's kind of been changing who starts all through the preseason. So we'll see who he ends up sticking with for that first game. Andre Santos loaned out again to Strasbourg. Alfie Gilchrist gone on loan to Sheffield United. Transferred in this player just to loan him back out to Boca. And then most recently, Pedro Neto for about 50 million. So Pedro Neto, I think, is a really good player. The only problem is how many wingers do you really need in your squad? It's crazy. Like when you look at their depth chart, it makes no sense. I don't know how they expect Maresca to keep these players happy. And I feel like they brought in some defenders, but I think that's where they should have really tried to fix things. I think their center-back options, when you're talking about Badia Shield, flatters to deceive. When you're talking about Wesley Fofana, that might turn out to be one of the biggest busts of all time when you look at his fee and what he's going to do at Chelsea. I don't see it with this player at all. As I said, Tosin I was surprised by, but when I look at the depth chart, he might actually be starting. Me personally, I'd probably start him and Colwill. And I think Colwill still has a lot of work that needs to be done. But from what I've seen, those would probably be the two best people. Let me see if this person wants to share some views through me. I talk about Chelsea. Let's see. Hold on, I'm not sure if them want to go up on the live. So I'm going to mute my microphone real quick. He said Tosin has been utter garbage. No, but that utter garbage is the best. Like Colwill been crap. Fofana been crap. Badia Shield been crap. I mean, none of them really been good, but Tosin has been like one of the better ones, even though he's been utter garbage. I'm telling you that's the only thing going to hold them back. They have good midfield, they have good attack, but the defense, brother, I just don't see how it going to hold up, brother. I don't see how it going to hold up, but they have really good attacking play. So, if them can win games 5-4, then we'll get points, but that defense going to give up goals. I'm telling you. And yeah, I agree. I don't know if he's been utter garbage, but he hasn't been great. But I'm telling you, everyone has been so bad that it make him look better. Put it that way. But yeah, I just don't know where all the players are going to play in attack. That's the only issue. I don't know how I'm keep everybody happy. All right, this is Crystal Palace's moves. Let me see if there's anything really. Nathan Ferguson, a potential Jamaican, was released. Don't know if McLaren would still be looking at him. I have a lot of time for this player, Kamada from Lazio. Very good Japanese player to me. I think he's a very good addition for Crystal Palace. Solid player. Riyad from Real Betis could surprise some folks as well. Let's see. The biggest news, though, for them was an outgoing transfer. Michael Olise, who just had a stellar Olympics campaign with France, headed to Bayern Munich. I rate this player highly. Would have loved to have seen Arsenal bring him in to give Saka some pressure. At least he's a player that can play either side as well, can play through the middle as a number 10. I would have had him at Arsenal for sure, but he went to Germany to go play for Bayern Munich. Be tracking his progress over there. Player that I have a lot of time for. Ismail Assar came back to the Premier League from Marseille. Good bit of business, I think. Decent enough player. I think, they tend to like to have those speedy, tricky wingers, and Ismail Assar definitely fits that mold. So yeah, that is the business that was done by Crystal Palace, at least the noteworthy business as far as I'm concerned. Not much in the market going on, but I think one thing that they're going to struggle with in the beginning, I know that Eze would have had a shortened preseason. I know that, Mateta might not even be back with the team yet based on his exertions at the Olympics, and those would be two very key parts of the team. So worried about their start without their big guns around. Then we have Everton. Let's see, they got Tim over from Aston Villa. Jack Harrison loaned from Leeds. I think he's as a second year on loan because he was there last year as well. Ben Godfrey, potential Jamaica reggae boy, transferred over to the Serie A to Atalanta. We'll see if he gets any game time tomorrow in the UEFA Super Cup. As you know, Madrid will be playing Atalanta tomorrow. Omari Benjamin from Arsenal, another potential Jamaican reggae boy. He transferred into there. So let's see if he can kick on, get some first team action this season. Ilman Njai, very, very good player. Was at Marseille last year. A few years back was at, I want to say, Sheffield United, if I'm not mistaken. Good player, very good player. Represents the country of Cameroon, but could have played for France as well, but decided to play for his heritage home, as we like to call it now. Amadou Onana will be a big miss for them, out headed to Aston Villa. Lindstrom came in from Napoli on loan. Jake O'Brien from Lyon. So that is Everton's business there. Fulham now, they lost Tosin. Broha ended his loan and went back. Bayo Torre. Reserve keeper Rodak is gone. Congolo gone. Who they transfer in? They got Sessegnon from Spurs, Emil Smith-Rowe, Jorge Cuenca from Villarreal. So they had a few decent sets of business, I think. I think Sessegnon is a player that still I don't think has, gotten to the heights that maybe the England fans and the fan base in England would have thought, but I do think that he still has a use in the Premier League. I think Fulham might be a better level for him. And then Emil Smith-Rowe already getting on the score sheet in preseason, linking back up with Alex Iwobi at Fulham. I think he will be a decent signing for them as well. Especially, when you look at, his trajectory as a player, there's been a lot of rumors that this summer he would have been here in Jamaica. Well, not here, I'm not in Jamaica, but in Jamaica, spending the summer. And based on the rules and based on the amount of caps he has for England, and it's coming up to the time when he could potentially apply for a switch. So we'll watch and see. We know that the interim England manager is Lee Carsley now, who would know Emil Smith-Rowe very well, as he was always a part of the youth setups in England. Would have recently coached him in the U21 as well. So, that's something to look at for all these dual nationals or potential dual nationals from Jamaica. Will the caretaker manager of England scoop up all these guys that we could potentially get? Because I know that's a style that they use. Give them the 1, 2, 3 cap and dash them with type of thing just to make sure they can't play nowhere else. So let's watch that one, people, and see how that progresses. But I think Emil Smith-Rowe will do a good job for Fulham. I think it's a good bit of business for them. Tim Ream transferred back to the MLS. Makes sense. He's getting a bit older now. Go finish his career in his homeland. So yeah, they have lost two players that sometimes started on the back line for them, and that's Tosin and Tim Ream. So and they didn't bring in a center back as far as I can see. So, let's see. They must have some players in the pipeline. I know they got the Nigerian defender last year who was playing left back at times, Bassi. So maybe he will move into the central role. But I need to see who else they have on that back line to kind of help out. One of the better keepers in the league, actually, Bernd Leno. So This is Ipswich Town now. They brought in Omari Hutchinson, Ben Johnson from West Ham, two good bits of business there. Funny enough, two players that could represent Jamaica as well. Omari Hutchinson already has paperwork and passport to play for Jamaica. Ben Johnson, I'm not sure if he has all that, but I know that he is eligible to play for Jamaica. They also brought in Jacob Greaves, Liam Delap, youngster from City. High hopes for him, so we'll see what he does at Ipswich Town. Then we have Murich from Burnley, who we saw get some game time in goal towards the end of the season. Connor Townsend as well. So they did a bit of business within their budget, of course. I would think that Omari was the biggest transfer this summer right at about 20 mil. So they're going to try to stay up in this division, and we'll see if I think will be able to do so. Leicester City now, we have a lot of players released at the top here. Iheanacho, who spent a long time at the club, finally got released. Pryor and Albrighton, those players have been around, especially the first two, have been around for a long time. I believe Albrighton was a part of that team that would have won the Premier League as well. I think Iheanacho would have came a little after that, though. He was probably at Chelsea still at the time. That's where he was at, right? Chelsea? I think so. Yeah, and then, obviously, Dewsbury Hall, we talked about him, left and went to Chelsea, but let's see all the ins that Leicester City had. So Bobby De Cordova-Reid, the reggae boy, on a free, came in, got a nice, I think it was 3-year contract, so big shout out to Bobby Reid, well-deserved, consummate professional. I'm sure he'll get a lot of game time at Leicester City this season with his experience and his know-how in the league. Michael Golding, young player from Chelsea, good midfielder. Let's see if he can break into the first team this season. They brought in Okoli from Atalanta, Fatawu from Sporting Lisbon, and they loaned Buonanotte. So not a bad bit of business here from Leicester City. I think you'll see in a minute as I go through my predicted table, where I have them going. I think they will probably stick around at least past this season. Now, Liverpool, this is what Liverpool did. The glaring thing that you'll see here, people, all release, all loan outs, and all transferred out. Not one incoming person on this team. For the longest, we're hearing Zubimendi might make the trip over. Never actually happened. So, yeah, it's a bit strange for me that no one has made their way over to Liverpool. But hey, Arne Slot probably came in and said, look, I know this club has a lot of good players. Let me just take a stock of what's going on. And maybe in January, I'll go in the window and see what we need. So I'm not totally mad at it, honestly, as far as a new coach coming in. Just wanted to see what was there. I mean, this is a team, obviously, it was the last team to win the Premier League, not named Man City. So they can't have just a bunch of bad players, can they? They must have some good things going on. So, yeah, the one big signing out probably, when you look at this list, Matip was probably pretty much time for him to go, especially with the emergence of Kwanzaa. Probably didn't really need Matip around anymore. Alcantara, as you know, retired, a part of the Barcelona staff now. And then when you look at Fabio Carvalho, probably was just on that cusp of being able to get enough minutes to stay at Liverpool. So they were able to get some money for him on the way out. So that was good. And everybody else pretty much loaned out. So yeah, that is Liverpool. Not much to write home about when you compare that to like the likes of a Chelsea. Some would say, it's too inactive. But I understand with a new coach coming in, just wants to see what's going on. And you juxtapose that with Maresca, also a new manager at Chelsea, and how many new players he'll have to deal with. So we'll see how Slot and Maresca navigate this first season based on what we know about the lack of transfer activity and then the over transfer activity at Chelsea, and how that affects a manager getting in and getting his system going. All right, this is Manchester City now, the champions. Sergio Gomez transferred out to Real Sociedad. We saw him at the Olympics as well. We talked about Delap just now. Savinho, very, very good player, transferred in. Was playing at Girona, but was on the books at Troy. He's a very, very good player. I think he's one that people probably aren't talking about that much. I guess, I don't know why. But I think Savio is probably going to have a decent season this season. When you look at that right-hand side for City, of course, we see Bernardo Silva playing there a lot of the time, but he more often he plays there as somebody has to go there on the team sheet, but he doesn't really stay out there. He kind of roams around. I think Savio will give them that option when they want to make sure they have quote-unquote wingers. I think it's going to be a problem when you have Doku one side, Savio one side, and they're just 1v1 in the defenders to death. So Savio probably will be eased in. Pep tends to do that with new signings, but I do think he can be an impact player off the bench for them to try to solve some issues. If they're late in a game, they need something different. I think Savio will provide that this season. Michael Hamilton left the club, went to Middlesbrough, player that I thought was showing signs that he could potentially break into the first team this year, but probably a good move for his career, knowing that, you got Grealish that side, you got Doku either side. They have options. Oscar Bob looks like to be the next one from the academy that, Pep is going to give chances to this season. So, well, started getting chances last season, but probably will get more chances. And a lot of that is going to be due to the fact that this player here transferred out. Amazing. Now, people always want to talk about City and their 115 charges and all these things. But what people don't realize as well, they also make good business decisions. Remember how much Julian Alvarez was bought for, people? Do you guys remember how much he was bought for? And do you guys know how much they just sold him for? People just omit things like that when they talk about City and what they do, That's one thing you have to give them credit for. And that's one thing that I will say my club doesn't do well enough, is get good value for the players that they have bought, right? This man literally came to City in 2022 for, how much was it? I soon tell you. Where is it? Transfers. All right, so he came here from River Plate 2022 for 23 million. The man them 23 million euros. The man them just sell the man for 75 million euros with add-ons as well. So it could go up to about 85. That's ridiculous business. And this is a player that really has never started for Man City, like as a nailed-on starter. Typically rotated. When you see the end of the season come up, him coming off the bench, and they got 75 million for him, bro. It's crazy. So look, I'm not saying they have done everything by the book, but they do things well as well in the transfer market. I have to give them that credit. All right, let's just check in with the comment section. Chelsea can make a squad out of wingers and only one of them worth the money. The game yesterday, Luton versus Burnley, I heard the commentator saying Burnley only had one defender on their bench. Wow. I believe it still. Sarr is back. Usain Bolt in boots. Yeah, man, that guy is fast like a jet. Big up yourself, Sherman. One done. Clarendon. Smith Rowe going in my FPL. Yeah, I agree. I think when you're looking at FPL and you need those value signings, that's definitely a good one, because I'm sure I bet he's one of those players. Get him now, because January, when them do the price changes, his will go up. I agree. Nacho was at City. Yeah, sorry, I said Chelsea. Yeah, City is what I meant to say. Thank you. Tycoon, what go on? Just skip that side. I must Liverpool attack. Zubi Mendy said no. Demo says Slat is a madman. He's a madman, but he might be a mad genius. Yeah, I was surprised by that. Honestly, I was surprised by that. I mean, they got decent money for him, but I figured he would get used this year. I mean, why not? It looked like him liked to play that kind of false nine-ish role as a striker, like Slat, that is, because he didn't have Nunes most of the preseason, and he'd been playing a lot of false nine-ish kind of players in the middle. So I thought Carvalho could have played that role, What you say? 5 years ago, him say no. I tell you, every year him say no. Big team now. Wait, who is your team, Mark Anthony? United? 115 will never go. Yeah, they'll never get charged with those, my youth. Never. So don't even them hear them talk about November, the hearing going to start, and I'm not even think about them thing there. Now I get my hopes up for that. What go on my sports world with them about, Yeah, I feel like I feel like Marino is probably gonna happen. I do. I think because I think Bournemouth is gonna buy Nketiah, and I think we're gonna take that money and buy Marino with it. Yeah, because I think yeah, I think that's how it's gonna go. He did start a lot last season, to be fair. KDB and her. Yeah, he did start a lot last season. That is true. But again, it was because of what he's put right there. KDB and Holland not being there. Once everybody was fit, yeah, nothing. What trophy? I don't know which trophy. Yeah, bro, that profit is nuts. 23 mil, and you turn around and sell him for 75. Damn. The grass and Canada 4x1 goal, like you told. Oh, you told us that? Mad. Yo, the funny, I don't know if you guys follow I don't know what his name is. Dima, what is the name of the Liverpool fan that put out the video saying, I hope Sociedad get relegated, and I hope every time you eat food, you get sick and all kind of things. What a man the name? Yo, the man was upset, you know, man. Sign a backup striker. They need something. No, I don't think City going to sign no backup striker, you know. Well, they might still. They might. I'm not sure. I won't say they won't. But Pep is a madman, you know. Pep will say, yo, I'm good. You had FPL draft. I got last pick. So first pick still took Odegaard. Yeah, Odegaard's a good pick. I think the way we play now, though, I don't know if he's the best pick anymore or like that good a pick, because I think the way Arteta is doing things now, I see him a lot more in the build-up phase. But you know, Arteta tweaks a lot of things throughout the season, so you never know still. Yeah, David did sink that penalty. That was huge. Get them in the Champions League today. That's where Mourinho. Every season Liverpool get rejected by a midfielder. Yeah, the list is getting longer now. Caicedo, Lavia, Jude, Zubimendi now. Winning a trophy of some kind. Boy, I tell you. And people are going to say, we're going to win the Emirates Cup. But I don't believe that, man. We'll win something to Ratted Cup. Dan Hussam. Oh, same name? Yo, that brother, the sample demo. I couldn't believe that video. Well, I could believe it because I've seen him on troop shows before and thing, and him always talk some madness. Very passionate, you know. No, I'm not saying he's not good enough. I'm just saying, like, when you look at the money that they were able to get from him, bro, it's crazy. 75 mil. I'm not like, it's just, but they do that a lot, man. They get players before, you know, like, all right, who's a player I can say? Like, even Rodri. I mean, they spent a bag of money for Rodri, but when people bought Rodri, did everybody think Rodri was the best midfielder, central defensive midfielder in the world? No. I mean, yeah, he was a good player. But when he gets to City now, they become the best. You know, Vardiol, everybody knew he was talented, and they spent a bag of money for him. But look at how the man play for City. Even Ake, people were kind of surprised. Like, Ake, really? I mean, yeah, we knew he was good, but look how the man played for City. Look how Akanji played for City. Akanji, I heard, was injury prone and this and that, and I always rated Akanji still. Every time I saw him play for Switzerland in any tournament in the summer, he played great. And, you know, he had some bad luck with injuries at Dortmund for sure. But when he was playing for Dortmund, he was always good. Yeah, I don't really watch his programs like by himself, because I know he creates content on his own. I only catch him when he's on like a troop show or, you know, something like that. Odegaard Marino would be nice, and Rice 6, but it's nice Partey looking like himself again. Yeah, you know what? I don't think Arteta loves Rice in the 6, you know, to be honest, you know. And I think it's the same reason why England looked how they looked in the Euro. I don't think that Rice is so good at breaking the lines with passes. So when he's in that 8 role, he gets to drive with the ball, which I think he does better than breaking the line with the pass. So I think Arteta figured that out. And he does give us more in that kind of drive the ball forward role, because sometimes from the sixth position, I don't really want you to drive the ball. I just want you to pass the ball. And Jorginho and Partey do that way better than him, for sure. Now, of course, you lose something when Georgie plays there because he's not as athletic. That's why Partey being fit is crucial, you know. Don't forget Alonso, that was a rejection. LOL. For real. Big money, David. I wish Edu would just buy the Canadian Gooner. Why, you really think Jonathan David would get us over the line, bro? Interesting. I mean, he's proven in Europe as a goal scorer. He score 15 to 20 goals every season. So, I mean, it's not like you wouldn't get goals from him, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd have to give that some serious thought. Asian Canadian pure baller. Yeah, he does keep getting them in the Champions League. That is true. Zinchenko is one of those players. Akanji was Dortmund, 4-choice CB. Not always. No, sir. I mean, he at the end he was, because he was always injured. But like when they no, man, he wasn't no 4-choice CB. You're mad. JFF needs some pep scouting lessons, me, I tell you. All right, I'm give the chat a good run. Let's look at Man U real quick now. Varane gone. Martial gone, finally. Brandon Williams forcing gone to Monza. Van de Beek, cheese and peas. What a man wasting career over there, man. Gone to Girona. Good signing, I think, this is, you know, people. Joshua Zirkzee. I don't know why Koeman never give the man a chance in the Euro. Just depending on Mr. Headband for stink up the place every game. But yeah, I think Zirkzee is gonna be a decent signing. I think he fits in more than Holland with how Man U want to play. So I think he's gonna be good. He's gonna I think he's gonna, like, you know what Zirkzee's gonna do? He's probably gonna make Rashford's and Garnacho's, Sancho's, all of them going to look better with him as the striker as opposed to Holland, I think. Kambuala, I think ever since Solanke sit him down that day, him days was numbered. So he's gone to Villarreal. Mason Greenwood, you know, Reggae Boys fans, we'll be watching him in League One at Marseille, see what he's up to. Lenny Yoro came in and is already on the injury list. Sadly for Man U there. Came in from Lille. Short tire gone. Wan-Bissaka just recently gone to West Ham. And then 2 signings came in, I think yesterday or today. Matty de Ligt and Mazraoui. I think that's 2 good bits of business, man. Especially de Ligt. I think they definitely needed another, like, you know, starting level centre back to come in. You know, de Ligt, I think, you know, lost his way a bit the last couple of years. Didn't really have the best time at Juve. I would say his Bayern Munich time was up and down as well. Mazraoui, you know, definitely had some challenges with injuries while at Bayern Munich, but I think he's a very good technical player as well. Moroccan international. I think this is 2 good pickups for them, to be honest. I don't think de Ligt is past his best yet. I think he probably can have another resurgence in his career. So yeah, I think that's 2 good bits of business. I think when you looked at them in preseason, you know, we still had Johnny Evans playing. So I don't know if if I was a Man United fan, how I'd feel about that. Nothing against Johnny Evans, but you know, I don't think you can go into the season saying, okay, Johnny might be getting a lot of games. You know, I think the league coming in now kind of at least gives them 3 good centre backs. Well, some will argue that Harry Maguire ain't so good, but de Ligt, Martinez, Maguire, it looks a bit better than having Evans as your 3rd centre back, right? So I think that was good business for them. The last Wan-Bissaka brought in Mazraoui, so you know, kind of a not like for like, but at least they lost 1 player that was getting game time, and they bring in another one that can kind of fill his role. So we'll get to Man United once we go through the league table in a minute. Newcastle, this was their business in the summer, so got rid of some players who have been around a while. Domet Ritchie, long time at the club, finally contract ran out. Karius, Liverpool's favorite son, released as well. Jeff Hendrick released as well. Lloyd Kelly, another one, potential reggae boy. Now, these are the players that Steve McLaren, we hope, can get over the line for us. Came in from Bournemouth very early in the summer. He came in. Vlachodimos, Pliers came from Nottingham Forest. He's the goalkeeper as well. Then you have Lewis Hall, permanent now from Chelsea, was on loan, but it was an obligation, so he came in. And then we have John Ruddy. He's another goalkeeper as well. So did they get, what happened to Pope? They got rid of Pope. And they have 3 goalkeeper now. He's a goalie. Ruddy. Damn. I mean, Ruddy is a goalkeeper, right? He used to keep for was it Wolverhampton? I remember Ruddy from one of them smaller club there back in the day. Will Osula from Sheffield. Yeah, so not so much business from Newcastle. It's funny because a few years ago, when they had the takeover, we were figuring, okay, this team is going to start buying everybody, but they really should have had their takeover before all these FFP things came into play, so they could have done what they really could do. Because, that's kind of underwhelming, honestly, for Newcastle in the summer there. Elliot Anderson gone out to Forest. Yeah, so that is the business for Newcastle. Then we have, but actually, I guess the best thing that you could say about Newcastle is they didn't lose the Isaac, because everybody wanted Isaac this summer, and they put their foot down, so we ain't selling him. So good business for them to keep him. Nottingham Forest now lost a few players in the contract, end of loan spells as well. Liverpool legend there, Origi, gone to AC Milan now. Then we have, let's see who they bring in. So they brought in Moreira from St. Pauli. Elliot Anderson came from Newcastle. They brought in the Brazilian from Corinthians, Carlos Miguel. And player from Australia, Cahill. Milenkovic from Fiorentina. And Jota Silva from Portugal. So bit of business there from Nottingham Forest. A couple of players coming in. So let's see how they look. I think Forest is going to be, again, hovering around that relegation. We'll see if I think they're going to stick in the league this season. Then we have Southampton coming up from the Championship. Brought in Lallana on a free. Takaoka came in from a high school. Wow, in Japan. Coming like whisper. Taylor Harwood Bellis, former City player, now moved on. Was on loan there, finally made permanent. Charlie Taylor from Burnley. So these are players, though that's a player that has some Premier League experience. Let's see. Leanco went back to Brazil. Good, because him wild. Nathan Wood came in from Swansea. That's another player that has Jamaican ties. So we'll see if he can get some first team options this year. Sugawara came in. Flynn Downs from West Ham. That was a player that was, thought of highly by the West Ham fan base. Young player. He made the move, trying to get more first team opportunities. So yeah, they did a good bit of business, Southampton, trying to bolster their lineup. Will it be enough? That is the question. Ben Brereton Diaz, very good at the Championship level, scoring goals. We'll see. And also had a decent loan spell with Sheffield United as well, scoring some goals for them in their relegation. Basically, they were relegated by February. But yeah, he did do his thing for them in his little spell there. And that is what they did as far as business. Now here's Tottenham. They still kept Werner on loan. Got rid of Dyer, Perisic, Ryan Sessegnon, Tanganga. Brought in Bergvall. Brought in Archie Gray. Very, very highly talented and touted young Englishman from Leeds. And then, of course, Dominic Solanke came in for that club record fee. Dane Scarlett, Jamaican hopeful, loaned out to Oxford, so he should get a lot of first team time there. Emerson Royal left and went to AC Milan, so they lost some more players as well. Højbjerg, who's been a mainstay, at least in the squad for the past few seasons, went on loan to Marseille. Brian Hill went on loan to Girona. So let's see. I think they really and truly probably needed to do some business in the defensive side of things, but I don't see much going on here. So kind of surprising that they got rid of Emerson Royal. I don't think they have much cover at the right and left back. I think Jed Spence is back and had a decent preseason, so maybe he'll get some chances this year. And then West Ham United to close it out before Wolves. They have been busy. They brought in Guilherme from Palmeiras, excuse me. Wes Foderingham came in probably to be a backup goalkeeper from he was at Sheffield United last season. Then we have Max Kilman transferred in from Wolves. Very solid defender, I think. Good player. Somerville, very good player from Leeds. Let's see if he'll break into the Dutch team at some point now that he's in the Premier League proper. I think he should get a lot of opportunities in this setup with West Ham. I know my Surinamese brother, Sean Bass, would want him to be playing for Suriname, but I think this player has the potential to play for the Dutch national team. So let's see what he does. Niklas Füllkrug had a very good Euros. Definitely had a really good season at Dortmund as well. I think this is a very good pickup for them. I do think that he's our boy, Captain Jamaica, Mikel Antonio, but you'd be lying to yourself if you think that you don't need some cover for him. At least to, let him be more effective and not just have him play every single game. So I think it will really help Antonio's season to have Füllkrug in the team just to give him that spell of rest. You know what I mean? Guido Rodriguez came in on a free. That's a good bit of business as well. Solid midfielder. Let's see if he can handle the pace of this league. But, technically very sound. Very, very talented technical player. Todibo came in on loan from Nice. A lot of teams were after him. He only wanted West Ham though. So I think that's something that Lopetegui probably had a lot to do with that, talking to him and telling him his plans for this team. I wouldn't be surprised if he's starting before too long in this West Ham defense. Then they brought in Aaron Wan-Bissaka as well to play right back. So upgraded a few spots, Soufal is a very solid right back, but at times I think he, could use a spell with some rest. So I think Wan-Bissaka will help, and Wan-Bissaka can play on the left side as well. So versatile player. And then we have Wolves closing it out. Tommy Doyle came in from City. That's permanent. He was on loan there, so now he's there permanently. I feel like I want to sneeze. All right, I don't have to. They lost Kilman, as I said before. Jurgen Strand Larsen loaned in from Celta Vigo. Talented player, actually. Wouldn't be surprised if he puts up some decent numbers this year. Pedro Lima came in, and Arthur Nasta as well. And Pedro Neto, the big transfer out, of course, headed to Chelsea. So, how do you really replace a player like Neto? They'll probably tell you, well, Neto barely plays, so it's not going to be so hard. But Neto, very, very talented player. Can't go around it. I'd say, per 90 minutes, probably one of the most effective players in the Premier League, actually. So yeah, that is the full story as far as all the movement. So you guys should familiarize yourselves with that. Now, this segment is where we get into the prediction segment now. See? So feel free, guys, to drop what you think the league table is going to look like. Obviously, you don't have to type 1 to 20 in the comment section, but you can tell me who your top 4 or your top 6 going to be. Obviously, the European places, and you can tell me who you think is going to get relegated. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to work my way up from the 20th all the way up to 1st, all right? And we'll see how close I come to predicting the future, all right, people? If you're a betting person, now is the time to take note and see if you want to follow Jason Gooner's predictions or not. All right. Let me check in, because I did go through a lot of teams just now, see if anybody had anything to say. Okay, Mark Anthony says Onana is trash. We should have kept the hair. I don't know if he's trash, but he makes some crazy decisions at times. I don't think he's trash though. I think, he's a big part of the reason why you could ask me a stupid question like 5th or trophy. He had a lot to do with that trophy you won, lest you forget. Lenny was worth every euro. Okay, we'll see. We shall see. We say he's your Saliba. De Ligt overrated in my opinion. Yeah, I think right now he's probably not overrated. I do think when his Ajax teams were making those runs to the, when they lost to Spurs in the semifinal, that's pretty much when he started to get this big acclaim. And I think maybe it was a bit too early for all of that. And I just think it wasn't, he didn't fit at Juventus, and that really stopped him from progressing the way he should have. I think he was better at Bayern, but still not the best, and had some injury problems. But I think he started to right the ship last year, and I do think that this year you'll see a good player. I don't think he's going to be poor. Jason Gooner TV, if you could pick a striker for Arsenal that would get them the title this season, who would that be? To me, the striker that would get us the title is not available. I think out of all the players out there, the one that fits how we play the best is Isak, but he's not for sale. He's not for sale. The lick is done. One season wonder. The other one ain't a major upgrade, and two Bissaka either. They barely move the needle. I think Mazraoui is way more technical than Wan-Bissaka. Like, he's much better on the ball. So I think he's a different type of player than Wan-Bissaka. I don't think Wan-Bissaka fits Ten Hag's style at all. You know, I don't think he's a bad player. I just don't think he fit the style. I think both of the players fit Ten Hag's style more. I mean, you can think what you think about their actual play, but they fit his style a lot better than who they had before. Bissaka is a good player. I don't care what y'all say. Yeah, I don't think he's bad. Look like Pope gone a room. Moss. He used to keep for Norwich. Yeah, Norwich. There you go. Yeah, man. Suarez not score 5 goals on them one time, man. Or 4 at least. Newcastle shake. No CL again. That squad not good enough with how competitive EPL is now. Yeah. It's strange, man. I don't understand. So Nick has put his list down already. Pool, City, Gooners, Chelsea, Batman United, and Top Spur. All right. So that's Nick's top 6 right there. Liverpool for the win. City 2nd, Gooners 3rd, Chelsea 4th, Man United 5th, and Tottenham Hotspur 6th. Yeah, man, Top Spur. That's a hilarious video. What's a Top Spur? Hilarious video. That Chinese man, they make me laugh. All right, so... All right, people. So I'm now got Terry. It's almost 2 hours on the clock, and that's about when I want to be done with this one. So first and foremost, we're gonna go to the relegation. If you look at the recent history of the league, right, in terms of the table, last season, the 3 relegated teams, right, all 3 of them came up and went right back down. So Luton Town, Burnley, and Sheffield went right back down, right? The season before that, 22-23, Forest stayed up, but Leeds and Southampton went back down, right? Oh no, Leeds would have been there before. So which team did stay up? So it was just 1 out of the 3 went right back down, right? Then 21-22, Burnley, Watford, Norwich, yo-yo settings. So recently we have seen the yo-yo settings in full effect, right? Now for me this season, I think 1 will survive. But for me, in 20th place, I'm going to have to go with Ipswich Town. I know Ipswich Town beat Southampton last season to 2nd place and the automatic promotion. But I think Ipswich Town finishes in 20th place. So I'm going to put in the comment section, 20 Ipswich. I'm going to work my way up. All right, next one. I think the second club that is going to go down is also from promotion, and that's going to be Southampton. Southampton will be going right back down. So Ipswich 20th, Southampton 19th. Now my 18th team, and this one might surprise some, but I feel like it's time. They've been hovering around this relegation, a team with immense history, and I know a lot of the historians won't want to see this happen, but I think this is the time where Sean Dyche can't figure out a way to stay in the damn league. Everton is going down, people. I'm sorry. All the Evertonians, all the Everton fans, I'm so sorry. One of the biggest games historically, the Merseyside derby. It ain't, brother, I don't see it, man. This Everton team going down, man. I'm sorry. I'm tired of them. Dyche, go down. Go to the next league, brother. Sorry. All right, that's 18. Now, 17, I'm going to say, again, they flirt with disaster, but they stay up. And that's going to be Nottingham Forest. They are going to stay up by the skin of their teeth again. Nuno will find a way. He's becoming the new Dyche all of a sudden. In 16th place for me, and I wrote this before, so I'm looking at my list. 16th place, I'm going to go with Brentford. I almost put them a few places higher, but just feel like that's about where they are at this point. All right, so the next team, and you're probably wondering where are they, because Demo said all three are going back down. But I'm going to go with Leicester City in 15th place. So Leicester in 15th. In 14th place, I'm going to go for Brighton with their new manager. In 13th place, Gary O'Neill and Wolves. I know Neto is gone, but they still have players. They have Wang, they have Mateus Cunha, they lost Kilman, but I believe that they'll figure out a way with that coach to get some decent results. In 12th place, I'm going to go with Fulham. In 11th place, I'm going to go with Crystal Palace. All right, now we enter the top 10. This might be surprising to some. They just lost their 19-goal striker, but I feel like this manager is a very good manager and will coach them up, and that is Bournemouth. All right, now Nick made mention of this team, and I tend to agree with him. I don't like what I see as far as them retooling and setting their team up for greatness, and that is Newcastle at 9th. All right, we're slowly approaching to the top places now. So the next team, and this might surprise some, but I'm going to put this down to the challenge of playing the Champions League opposition. We saw it with Newcastle last season. While I do think that Aston Villa is a bit more equipped with the squad that they have, I still feel like they might be a little short on quality to sustain this EPL run this season. So I'm going to put Aston Villa in 8th place this season. No disrespect, Mr. Bailey, but I just feel like you guys are going to have a lot to deal with this season with all the strains of the UCL, right? 7th place. This is the team that originally, before I made this video on another program, I said they were going to finish in the top 4. I have changed my mind, and I'm going to say West Ham finishes just above Villa in 7th. All right, now we get into the Conference League place, which is 6th. So for me, this is as high as I can put these people. It's going to be the Scum, the Spuds in 6th. No, I won't say much more. I don't really want to say much more about them. I just think they're going to finish 6th. And in that dreaded 5th spot, just outside the Champions League places, I am going to say this team could have been in my top 4, maybe even top 3. But because they have the defense they have, I don't think Chelsea can get past 5th. That's where I have them this season. Yeah, Float, I do have Ipswich getting relegated. I do. Sad to say. I don't think they're going to stay up. I really don't. I like the manager. I like some of the players. Obviously, I love Omar Hutchinson. He's a baller. but I just think they don't quite have enough to stay into the league, man. I don't see it. This damn league is hard, man. All right, no. The money places now. So who is left? So we obviously have City, United, Liverpool, Arsenal. So I'm sure you can guess who I have winning the title, right? I'm sure you can guess that. But my cousin and some others in the chat aren't going to like this part. But for me, I believe that Arne Slot and Liverpool will get that 4th place this season. And this one will probably shock some, because if you know me, you know that my least liked team, even worse than Spurs, is this team that I have in 3rd. And that is Eric Ten Hag and Manchester United and the Red Devils. I think they will actually have a decent season, and I think they will finish 3rd. I think the additions of Xerxes, De Ligt, Mazraoui, I know people are underwhelmed by those things, but I think those players are better players than what they had before. I think one more year in Ten Hag's system, one more year in Ten Hag's system, I think they're going to play better this year. Yeah, I think, Ruud van Nistelrooy will help those strikers as well. I think a lot of those players are going to play better this season under the coach. So yeah, I could see them maybe not challenging for a title, but I do think that they will finish in the top 4, and I have them at 3rd. And here's the big one, people. Well, once I put the 2nd place, you'll know what I think about the 1st place. It's time. It's time for them to relinquish this damn title. Manchester City will finish 2nd, people. You heard it here. I'm sure it's not shocking that I would say this, but Arsenal will finish 1st. That's what I feel is going to happen, people. I really do. I know that some people are going to just say I'm deluded at this point. We're going to battle the league. We can't do anything. A friend of mine was ridiculing the coach the other day for doing this pickpocket thing, saying this man will try anything to try to get the edge. And I see no issues with that. I would like him to try anything, because he's tried all kind of things and it hasn't worked. You know what I mean? So, look, I don't think that Arsenal needs a striker. I don't think Arsenal needs a striker to the point where they can't win the league with the team that they have right now. I don't subscribe to that. I don't at all. We scored 91 goals last season, people. 91. That's enough to win the league, people. It is. And I feel like Manchester City is going to be a formidable challenge again. It's going to come down to the wire, I believe. But I just feel like we're going to get over the line this time. I really do. I think that the coach has learned a lot of things. One thing is for sure. He has probably spent the entire summer trying to figure out how to do it. I think the players are a year older. They know each other at this point. I think they, in their minds, probably believe they can actually do it this time. And yeah, I think as long as before this window ends, we can get another quality midfielder in, I think we can win this damn league this year. And I think we will win the league this year. I really do. I know last year I was saying it, but I can say it with my chest this time. I honestly believe that we're going to win this damn league this year. I do. And my nose is still the same size. Mark Anthony says, I'm tripping. United fan. And here's the Liverpool fan saying my nose is growing long. You know what I mean? Demo are dead with laugh. But listen, I'm telling you guys gonna troll me all season. I know. We can even go, if we start the season and win every game, the first 5 games, we have a tough schedule to start out, I think we start with Wolves, we have Spurs away, City away, Villa away. So we have some mad games to start the season. If we win every game, if we win all 5 of them games, they're still going to tell me say we're going to battle the league. So, listen, man, I don't know what to tell you. You Arsenal fans are the best. Yeah, I mean, look, we are Arsenal fans. I mean, look, is it you? So, all right. So, you guys going to honestly tell me that it's a or like it's a form of delusion for me to think we can win the league this year? Honestly, come on, man. Yeah, no, that took a lot. I hate Manchester United way more than I hate Liverpool. I hate them. But I just feel like there's gonna be the growing pains with Slot at some point, you know what I mean? And that's why I feel like they're gonna lack the consistency needed to, like, you know, really challenge this season. And I think the same reasons why Man United struggled last year is why I think they're not gonna be so much of a struggle this year. I think they're kind of getting you know, they're getting what Ten Hag is trying to show them at this point. You can see from how they played in the preseason. At least I can see. People don't want to see, that's fine. But yeah, they say me winning the league is no surprise. That's true. And I'm just saying big up Skulls and good night. Big up yourself, Christy. Much love. Get some rest. Yeah, dead with laugh because Nick has 7 nose a grow. Liverpool haven't had any signing on a new coach. We're going to finish above them. Man U had a -1 goal difference last season with the more shots conceded. That won't just change. No, I think a part of the reason was they had some players that just aren't good and they don't have them anymore. Or not that they weren't good, but they had a lot of injuries as well. I mean, look, don't act like Man U season wasn't mad. They had no Martinez for most of the season. I think he makes a huge difference. I don't care what nobody tell me. He makes a huge difference. If he's fit, they're a better team automatically. You know what I mean? I don't think Mount is the greatest player in the world, but they didn't have him at all. You know? I think Xerxes is going to improve their forward line. You know, can Rashford be as bad as he was last year? Maybe he can. I don't know. But I don't think he will be. Right? Garnacho's a year older. He looked promising. Ahmad looked promising at the end of the season. I just feel like I don't know, man. I don't know. Be honest, you saying that Arsenal winning the league this season, is that you Arsenal bias kicking in? I mean, obviously I'm an Arsenal fan, so there's going to be some form of bias in it. But for people to like be shocked that I think that Arsenal will win the league is crazy to me. Like, we were second 2 years in a row. Where else could we go? The team. So you guys are telling me the team is worse now than we were last year? Arteta can't get you over the line. Well, it's hard to argue this point because he's never done it. But until you do something, you can't do it. You know what I mean? People told me I couldn't start a YouTube channel until I started one. And then people said, oh, you can have a YouTube channel. So, you know, maybe that's a terrible analogy because, you know, it's really no prerequisite to starting one. You just hit start and you start one. But, look, I don't buy into this Arteta can't get us over the line business. I don't buy into that. I don't think it was Arteta why we didn't get over the line. I think we didn't get over the line because that line is difficult to get over. You know, you guys act like our opponent is a scrub. You know what I mean? It's arguably the best Premier League team of all time with arguably the best manager of all time. So, you know, I'm just saying, like, yes, that team still exists and that manager is still there. But can so many of the world be wrong about Arteta? I'm yet to hear a pundit or anybody that talks about football say that Arteta is not good enough. Only people I hear say that is people trolling me because I'm an Arsenal fan. Literally. The only people. Anybody who want to look upon it and put it in perspective and say Arteta can't coach or I'm not good, uno mad. Uno crazy. I'll say uno crazy. DJ Giggs said third, I guess. Fair enough. So wait, DJ Giggs, did you put your top 4? I'm going to document them something, you know. Me just looking at her in the live chat and see what going on. Yeah, Isak, bro. That's the one I would want. I swear. After can get all over the line, but you're saying y'all don't need a striker. It's crazy to me. Hey, you can call that crazy, man. We don't need a striker, man. We score enough goals with what we have. We don't need a striker. I don't think we need a striker. Personally, I don't. You don't think Arteta, who played Partey at right back and bench Gabriel? I don't. We didn't. Did we drop points in that time? We didn't drop points until December. What points we dropped last season in the beginning during that madness when he was doing all that stuff? And people saying that the whole Partey thing at right back was crazy. Don't watch football. because my man from Atletico Madrid did it as well in the Champions League and in La Liga as well. So it wasn't like he invented this. But people just, anything Arteta do, them want to say him not a sense. When he wasn't the first person to actually do that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know what he wanted to tell me about that for. All right, let's see something. Matches. What? I'm just checking something, people. Hold on 1 second. Bear with me. Refresh my memory real quick. '23. No, so that's too long ago. All right, here we go. All right, so beat Forest, beat them. So this 2-all game with Fulham. How this did go? Saliba, Ben White, and Partey. Gabriel on the bench. So that's 1 point. That's 2 points dropped, and we lost the league by 2. And we didn't have a better goal difference, so that wouldn't have been enough. Playing Zinchenko when he was clearly not good enough. I don't agree with that. I think Zinchenko is good enough. I think Zinchenko is not good enough against certain teams. But against certain teams, he's better to play, actually, than everybody else we have. Arteta also makes you play amazing football. No, nobody won't talk about that, Mark. He's no good. He just can't get us over the line. He sucks. Okay, Gigs, let me know. Not Arteta, it's Declan who can't get them over the line, in my opinion. That's not a crazy take, to be honest. Declan has his deficiencies, but I think Arteta realizes his deficiency and don't play him in the role that England play him in and play him more advanced. I think in that role he's damn good. Arteta is not the reason we are not back-to-back champion. I agree. I don't know why people saying Arteta. You know what I mean? All these things, including not winning anything in how long. When last has he been to any final? Okay, fair enough. He hasn't been to any final. He has finished better than Klopp the last 2 years. And last time I checked, Klopp is a god. So I don't know. We didn't lose to none of the big six. Yeah, I don't know. I understand still. I understand. It's feast or famine as a coach. If you don't win, then you're no good. I understand that. So Arteta have to put up or shut up this season. I'll give you that. I don't think there's much more leeway he can get at this point. I mean, the team is good enough in my eyes to win the damn league, and he needs to go out and do it. And I believe they actually will. I really do. So people, let me know. I have a draft tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. Why I never mentioned Klopp? Did I lie? All I said was, don't get in your feelings, Debo. All I said was, Arteta finished higher than Klopp the last 2 seasons. Is that not a true statement? Are you going to tell me Klopp never business with the league because he must go in Champions League final and losing? That's what you're going to tell me? I mean, Klopp is a god, is he not? And Arsenal finished above Liverpool the last 2 seasons, did they not? Are you going to tell me because they won cups, they had better seasons and everything? That's what you're going to tell me, right? I'm not sure what you're going to tell me. Okay, so Demo, my point is this. Before Klopp delivered the league, right? And he won the CL, he would have just been another manager that was really good. And that's where Arteta is right now. I'm not trying to put him in the same class as Klopp. I'm just making a point that we can't. It can't just be feast or famine with all the managers, because Gary O'Neill is a good manager. He didn't win the league. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand. I don't want Arteta to get more credit than he deserves. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying no one gives him any credit, and I don't understand that. It's just weird to me. Nothing but give you FA Cup that you already had. No, you also righted the ship of my club. I wasn't, no matter how biased I was, if I started a channel 5 years ago, I would not have put them in first place in a preview show. Never. Arteta is a big part of the reason why I can't even say that now. You can say I'm delusional if you want, but for me to say Arteta is going to win the league this year, I don't think that's delusion at all. I don't think that's delusion at all. Finishing better than Klopp is like finishing second with no silverware. No, I only made that point to Demo because I don't think he gets any credit at all for anything. All people say is he hasn't won the league, or he hasn't won anything besides the FA Cup, and he hasn't been, whatever. And I'm just saying, like, aren't you guys watching the games, how the team plays, how everyone in the world talks about how we play and how the man manages the team and what he does with the team and his tactics? I don't understand it. Again, and after that, in no order, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man U, and Chelsea. But that don't make sense. What kind of no order? But those are going to be the top 5. Okay. But City winning the league. Fair enough. He won the league in Germany, had a track record, boss. Arteta doesn't have it. Arteta didn't coach yet, boss. Arteta didn't coach yet. How can he have a track record if he never coached? That's what I said. Most pundits and people around the world that study football praise him because he's a damn good coach. Arteta and Ten Hag deserve a lot more credit than he's given, for sure. And that's coming from a Liverpool fan. So, good on you, Nick. Mark Anthony said, chill on the ETH part. Yeah, it's very hard to have a track record if you haven't coached. You know what I mean? This is the only time he's ever managed a team. So I don't know why you would reference what he did in Germany before. And again, I'm not saying he's close to Klopp. I'm just saying that he's not terrible as a manager, as people make it. Well, not people. You especially, Demo. I've seen you troll Arteta a lot on all these platforms. And I just don't get it, bro. I don't get it. I just don't get it at all. Anyway. So the last thing I wanted to do, and this is probably easy, leading goal scorer of the season. I'm going to go out on a limb here, people. I think with Alvarez gone, he'll probably be on the field a lot. And even if he misses some time, which he normally does, I still feel like he'll be in with a shout, and that's Erling Haaland to take the goal scoring title. I do think, though, that Salah will run him close this season. And I'm going to give a shout out to Jared Bowen. I think Jared Bowen is going to score a lot of goals this season. So that will be my top 3, right? So all you FPL fans, listen to what I'm telling you. These people should be in your team. All right, manager of the season. You can probably guess because I have them winning the league. Arteta will get some stripes this season and get the manager of the season for taking them to the title. I did mention in the description that I'll probably talk about 11 or a team of the season, but I'm going to hold off on that. I think that's a bit of overkill for the predictions, right? So, Haaland, top goal scorer easily. Yeah, I mean, not going to go out on a limb there. I think he'll score the most goals. Fair enough. And again, I only made that point to say, he's not as bad as people as you're trying to make it out to be, because he beat a manager twice now over 38 games. That was a legendary manager at Liverpool, and a really top manager at that. So I mean, I don't think he's terrible. That's all I'm saying. You guys make it out like he's just terrible. Yeah. That was not the right words to use. You're correct, because he did do things in Germany prior to coming to Liverpool. So that is correct. That is correct. Arteta is a good coach, boss. I'm not saying he's terrible. Okay, thank you. I misinterpreted your comments then. Just saying someone else will take you over the line. Fair enough. All right, post the golden boot. So I'll say Haaland, Salah, Bowen. I just think Bowen going to smash it because, yeah, I just have a feeling Bowen going to score a bag of goals this year again. So Haaland, Salah, and Bowen. Those are my top 3 for the goal scoring charts. Arsenal will spread the wealth. We'll have like 5 players with 10 or more goals or something like that, maybe 6. Yes, people. So look, it's been 2 hours and 10 minutes. That's a good shout, Demo. That's probably, this is a player I rate. I was going to say the player I rate the most at Liverpool, but I'm trying to think. You know who I think going to have a good season too is Cody. I think Cody going to have a good season under this manager as well. Isak, I think because Newcastle going to struggle a bit, I don't think him going to score as many as the 3 that I put up there. But he will score goals. I mean, he'll have 15 at least. No, Darwin. I did want to say player of the season, you know, so thank you for saying that. Cole Palmer again, but it wasn't Cole Palmer last year. Wasn't it Foden? Or Cole was your player of the season. Hell no, Darwin ain't on that list. You want me to put a list of most goals missed? Yo, you think it's that? Wait till the season starts and you see my play. You better pray him take a long break after Copa America and him not there yet. Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah, Foden won it. So player of the season, I'm gonna go for the one, the only star boy, Bukayo Saka. Player of the season, people. Arsenal going to sweep it. Trophy, manager of the season, we're not going to win the golden boot, but player of the season will be Bukayo Starboy Saka. Remember that. Really? They banned him? What Xerxes gonna do? Win player of the season? Boy, Mark Anthony. Them say me deluded, you know. So hold on. If me predict Arsenal are going to win the trophy, why me can't predict Saka win the player of the season, my youth? Why? Jeez, oh, you're asking about that. I don't think so. I wouldn't ban him, you know, because the man run up there and him picking them up there and all kind of things. I hope him don't get banned. I'm actually rate where him do this. So if me I play ball, I'm gonna look up, I'm gonna see my wife, I'm gonna pick my parents and everything. I get mashed up by the opposing fans. Me I run up there too. What you mean? You mad? No man, you don't know how you're gonna react in at that moment there. So me can't wrong him for that, honestly. But I don't know. I will check on that though, Dima, because some of these places will ban you for things like that, you know. So I'll check on that, but I'm not sure. And honestly, if him get banned, can that be for the EPL? Wouldn't that be like him get a ban from like CONMEBOL qualifying or something? Like I'll check into it though, Demo. By next show, I'll tell you what I'm going with that. Anyhow, people, bless up to all the people them were tuning in. I don't know, a lot of you will probably watch back, because I know kind of late for some people and things. But yeah, man, I enjoyed bringing the content to you. As I said, people have some time tomorrow and the next day. So look out for some more content before the season start. The night time will be a bit busy because I have a draft tomorrow night. I think I have another one Thursday night. Let me know in the comments after the show or right now if you would like to see if I should do a live show while I'm drafting. I think that would be kind of cool, you know, to see how the drafting go, you know. But apart of me don't want to do it, you know, because I don't want to influence me for picking a bad team. But I'm not sure. I'm thinking about it, people. I might live stream one of the 2 drafts that I do. I'm not sure though. I don't know if I want to do that or not. But yeah, man say live for everything. Me know you don't like that, Demo. By the way, Demo, them start the league yet? Come on, make sure I'm going to the league from the first week, you know. The I am sure sports now do a league again. Cause today I really pre everything and I put my side together, you know. I'm not done yet, but yeah, I'm on the way. Looking good already still. I'm gonna see them putting on another group about joining the league or whatever. I did see my namesake, I say I'm gonna do it, but yeah, I'm not see nothing Bill yet. But I want to join the league for sure. Yeah, man, bless up yourself, cause it should be a very exciting season. I agree. Soon. Okay, cool. All right, people, big up on yourself, manners and respect. It's our year, Gunners. All right, Teta, prove yourself. Show them say you're not roach. You're a coach. And big up to Brent again for the super sticker. Maximum respect, my brother. Big up yourself. And people, until next time, yeah, man, stay safe out there in these streets and stay prayed up, Zine. Blessings, manners, and respect. Until next time, Jason Gooner TV. We're out of here, people. Up and gunning.